Okay, the recording is started, and this is the August 28th, 2018 Rook Community Meeting. So let's go ahead and get started with our agenda. So going down the list here, we have a couple, I think, of things to talk about for a 0.8 patch release. With this ticket here that's in review, I believe that it's been fixed and mastered, so we just need to backport the fix. But Travis, do you want to go ahead and talk about this race condition for loading the flex drivers?
Yep. So yeah, this is fixed and mastered. There's basically a bug in Kubernetes 1.11 that if you load flex drivers too quickly, like we create 4 currently for the different names that we've supported in the last couple of releases. And anyway, if you load them too quickly, the flex doesn't load them, and your mounts will fail to initialize. So someone from the community, I forget his name, verified that the master builds with the fix worked for him, where he was seeing this. And yeah, the proposal is to backport it, and when we're ready to get a build out, it would be in there. It's low risk, really. It just puts a sleep in to slowly load the flex drivers, like 500 milliseconds between each one. So
now, we did also see this when we first introduced the 1.11 integration tests, right, Travis?
Right. Yeah, the integration tests. Well, this was the fix for those so that they would be more reliable, because it did improve the reliability. We haven't hit it since this was put in there.
Is there a more reliable fix like retry and back off and retry than just the sleep?
Well, it's when we're registering the plugins. I don't know that we know if they succeeded to load or not. We just say register and we go on our way. We don't really get feedback that it succeeded or failed because it's asynchronous.
We can't tell that it's already registered.
Well, we need to register 4 plugins, and so we there's not a way to. Well, if they're already registered, it doesn't matter. I mean, the first time we load them, I think they're well. And actually, when we register them, there's also the starting of the whatchamacallit. It's on our side though to start the communication with our agent.
I was on mute. I personally don't know of any verification path to check if a driver has been loaded and recognized by the kubelet. So since we don't have any way to verify that, then I can't personally, without digging for a much longer time and trying to find maybe some hack or workaround, I don't particularly know of a specific way to do this.
Wasn't this removed like with the earlier removal of getting the Rook? No, not the Rook. The flex volume path on a kubelet. I think it was removed with that. If it was.
What are you talking about, Alex? What was removed?
When the API to get the flex volume path, which is configured on a kubelet, the API for that was removed.
Oh no, I do not remember.
It was available there.
Right, that's just kubelet config, and I don't think that ever exposed like a list of loaded drivers or anything either. So I don't think it was ever available.
Right.
Yeah, just a guess, but yeah, then it would also not be available anymore.
I mean, so really, this is a workaround until this is fixed on the Kubernetes side. And
have we chimed in upstream to let the because it's already tracked in an issue up there, right? Have we weighed in and kind of made the severity of this known?
Not really, other than referencing this issue and another Rook user referenced or made a comment in that issue.
It does seem like there is some comment upstream about Rook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That there is a need for that, Bassam, or there is one already?
There is one already.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, I didn't make it. Yeah, somebody else did. Mm-hmm. So I think until the fix gets in Kubernetes, it's nice to have a workaround too.
And I think that backporting this is definitely the right call to make this available to our 0.8 users.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any, so do we already have a PR open to backport this?
No, I've not opened it yet. I'll do that
That
later
was
today.
your fix, so you'll go ahead and do that?
Mm-hmm.
When we
You're not
are
doing
talking
anything important
about,
today, are you, Travis?
What's that?
You're not doing anything important today, are you? Like giving a talk or anything like that? No presentation?
Which you're going to watch. You're
Alex, you were saying?
enslaved.
no, if we backport this one, I'm for backporting my one PR that I had opened and then closed because we said no for now until we had another reason to create a patch release.
What
That was for the
issue was that?
erasure-coded pools?
The one with the erasure-coded pools with RBD, yeah, that one.
Has that gotten much use or vetting or verification in master yet?
Well, I haven't heard of users having that issue, but well, in the,
That one I had a little bit of concern about that one for risk of regression. So I would like to be able to.
Same here.
Yeah, I would like to be able to have some more confidence that that doesn't regress any paths at all.
Yeah,
Okay.
in general, I think we should take very targeted patch fixes, backports that people are complaining about or actually causing, some failures.
Yeah,
Like this kind of issue.
the main point of the main reason of backporting this was because we advertised like already, I think since 06 or 07, that this is working, but it is not working. And this is, well, basically the fix to this. That was, I think, the main reason why we also said, yeah, we should go and backport it. Because the feature as is broken right now. You can't use erasure-coded pools for RBD.
Complaining about it? Are people saying that they're not able to use things right now?
Depends on what you mean with right now. There have been people creating issues about it. And it's even resolving this issue here. Where's the chat in this whole thing? Here. Here. This issue is resolved by merging my PR, my original PR, 1959, which is, well, fixing it in master now. But it, well, wasn't backported yet.
Yeah, so users today can use erasure coding for object or file, but
in
not
master.
block, essentially.
Yeah. So this was the original idea behind, well, me opening the PR. The PR and, yeah.
Yeah, so it is essentially enabling.
It sounds like this enables a feature. Yeah.
Which is broken, which we advertised as working.
Correct. But
Well,
it just means the feature is not enabled when this is in. It's not fixing broken functionality in an existing feature. It enables a new feature.
well, if you're fine with that, then sure. I'm personally not too fine with it, as we advertised it already in 0.7, and now it's kind of, well, it's still broken in 0.8.
My concern is that we'd have to like make sure that this works well before we push 0.8 and we'll hold off on the other stuff. So I think we should just hold this until 0.9 or
Sure. That's it. If you're fine with it, then yeah. Then I think then we should update the docs or something. If there's still somewhere a mentioning of erasure coded and block storage.
That makes sense. We can definitely make that change in 0.81.
Okay, I'll look into checking if there is anything in the docs still referencing block storage and erasure coded together.
All right. Yeah, I think that in general that the potential risk associated with the more complicated feature is prudent or wise to potentially avoid for scoped patch releases. Is this 1921? Is this I don't know anything about the status of this.
This is just a doc update that needs to happen for OpenShift, and I haven't heard anything since last meeting from Fabian. But yeah, it's a doc update, so we don't need to block a release on it.
Got it. All right, so this looks like this is creeped up again about Rook agent formatting and in-use volume. That's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone know any more information about this?
Well, at least the comment to that is that it's mostly seeming to be the issue that for some reason it takes like ages to mount a big RBD volume. So I think we should more or less look into why it's taking so long to mount it, because that's kind of seeming to be the background issue of it.
Is there a way for us to actually test this scenario, like integration test, where we make the RBD mount simulate a really long mount, and then see this in action?
I don't think so. At least I personally was not able to reproduce it, and there aren't really steps, as far as I know, to reproduce it, unless only in the point of make it so that it takes long to mount, and then something fails. And I think we're not even really sure what fails there. We're not completely 100% sure what.
Yeah, it would be nice to have an integration test. I mean, a repro, even outside an integration test, if maybe if we just try and put a sleep in the mount and see if that helps us repro it.
I think that's well worth the time, actually.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a pretty serious bug. So, and it does feel like it's a race condition of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless somebody else wants to take it, I'll try that out. Yeah, definitely would like to get to the bottom of this.
Right, so we want to try to find a real repro of this, potentially with some of the characteristics that's described here.
Yeah. Simulate a long mount.
And when you say simulate, I'm not sure exactly how that would be done. I don't see this reproducing correctly or at all, unless an actual, the real cause underlying, why the RBD kernel module or whatever it is that takes a long time to mount it actually happens. So I'm not sure when we say simulation, how we hope to achieve that.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly yet, but while we're attaching in our flex driver, my hope was that a sleep there would help us simulate it.
Yeah, obviously this is a gut feel, but I don't think a sleep is going to expose this.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my guess.
Yeah, so anything we can do to repro is what we need to do.
I think if we, in general, get behind why it is taking so long for the mount to happen, I think we then get behind the issues with people having issues with big volumes, like 1 terabyte and bigger, having problems to be mounted in time, as there are still issues open for people having timeouts with big volumes like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might cover a couple of scenarios. That's a good point, Alex.
Yeah, I think we've had discussions before about the volume taking a while to mount.
I think Dan Mick maybe had looked into that a little bit as well. I'm not sure though.
And do you
Not
recall?
really. I just made some comments about it potentially being a long time to initialize the file system if you're using XFS, because there's a lot of blocks and XFS wants to touch a lot of the disk. But that's only on the very first mount, obviously. I don't know whether that was ever the cause of any of the particular issues that people found or not. I think it was just a half-ass theory with no reproduction.
Thanks, Dan. All right, so we'll follow up on that as well. It sounds like it's not very incredibly pervasive still. It seems like we're kind of narrowing in or converging on, what the potential scenario may be. And it definitely seems less widespread, significantly less widespread after 1.10 or 1.11 when the entry mounter was changed or with the specific tools it used, I think. So we've seen less of it. There's no question about that. It's the last issue. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
I think I just misspoke there, by the way. I said XFS. I meant that ESP4. Because XFS does better at really loud volume.
Gotcha. Okay. So this issue here, 2043, I wanted to draw some attention to it because so this is from Dimitri and Pacific Research Project of the San Diego Supercomputer Center guys. They run a fairly large cluster, and they've been an adopter of the Rook project for a while. So Alex, you had looked into this with Dimitri. Do you have a latest? Then it looks like they're blocked on this as well. So I'd like to get some more attention on it. Potentially, I could take a look at it too. Do you have a summary of what you've seen so far here?
Yeah. So basically, for some reason, when the operator is doing its initial job again, like going through the deployments if everything is up to date and stuff, and after that, when it is waiting for the OSD config maps, the status config maps, to be completed / returned or whatever it's named, whatever we want to name it, the operator begins to spam after always 2 or 3 less OSDs than in total, to spam this message with the, could you scroll a bit up? Here.
From the watcher?
Yeah, this will restart watch orchestrator. Yeah, this one. And then it simply begins spamming this message. And I don't really see where this is coming from.
I am familiar with that code in the OSD orchestration to try to kind of watch and synchronize the completion of the OSD orchestrator. So I've run into an issue about a watch channel in Kubernetes being closed before in the Rook API server when it still existed. So I'll take a look at this to try to see if I can understand this scenario a little bit better.
I think Dimitri also posted my debug output. I think the debug output I added in a test image, kind of. Oh, wait, is it? Oh, there we go. It's in my comment there.
Right here.
If you scroll, scroll a bit down, there are entries with test 1 and test 2, where I kind of looked into what is getting outputted in a certain situation. And test 1 is what is getting outputted when as the object when this error happens with the status config map result channel closed.
Yeah, this looks exactly like the watcher, and especially since Dimitri said it takes 20 minutes, this looks exactly like a watcher channel that's getting closed because of an HTTP keep alive timeout to the API server. And so the fix that we made in the API Rook API server may need to be done here as well.
No, it's already done. This logic with the orchestration status config map, if this error occurs, it's already restarted, as you can see. It's the same logic as in the Rook API or in a fix you did earlier there.
It doesn't look like it's working.
No, it's restarting it, but it's not working after that anymore.
Yeah, it just keeps failing.
Yeah.
Right.
So the fix, if you can name it like that, is already there, but it's not working anymore, it seems.
Right, so we need to look further.
Yeah, because it's basically in the code there where I added this, and well, yeah. If you need help there, let me know. If
you want to share your patch, Alex, for the debug logging that you added, so I can kind of understand where that was instrumented in the code, that will help.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Could you add an action item? Or I'll add myself an action item.
Okay, there you go. Thanks, Alex. All right, let's move ahead then to 0.9. I don't know if there's any big items to talk about here or like risks that we already see. Is anybody aware of any big risks or lack of progress or being blocked on anything here for 0.9?
Not that I can think of. It's more about, I just make a comment that we need to get the PRs in that we have. We have over 20 PRs open. So anyway, we just need to make progress on those.
I think there are also one or two old ones with that would wanted to introduce like charts, Helm charts for stuff, but there hasn't really been a reaction. I think, and some of them were. Is that one marked as stale? Yeah. Well, there are some that could. Is it who's doing that noise?
Not anymore.
It's like a scratching noise. I think. Yeah, there are a few ones that we could get in, like 2052, like the update Kubernetes minimum version should be ready. The Helm thing is, I hope I get to that again today or tomorrow then. But there are still some which I think haven't even gotten a review. So, well. And one thing I want to mention is that is Ben Siegelmeier here in the call?
For the PR he just opened?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, Alex.
We have an owner for that story. For the story of 1583, define a CRD for object store users.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
This one here. For Ben Ziegelmeier?
Hmm?
Cool.
Yeah, so it needs to be reviewed, or is there anything else specific?
Yeah, I think
that?
review.
Yeah.
That's just review. But we have an owner for that. I just wanted to mention that.
That's great. And I did a little bit ago, where is it? I went through the 0.9 milestone and added help wanted to all the items that did not have owners assigned to them yet, because we have a fair amount of that. We chose to be very aggressive for 0.9 and hopefully to find some contributors from the community to take on some of these issues. So everything is labeled with help wanted that doesn't have an owner yet. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to the community topics.
Sorry, can I ask really quickly, is there a like a target date for the 0.9 release?
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up too. I mean, quarterly is something that we've been targeting in the past, and what would that put us at? We haven't really talked about a timeline before, right? But
I mean, ideally December.
Just before KubeCon, I think, ideally in my mind.
Yeah, I think that with a lot of that could be very variable because we have so much scope in this milestone and lack of ownership as well. But we definitely, I would agree that we would end up scoping it so that we have a release before KubeCon.
Okay, great.
Was that Blaine that asked that?
Yeah, it was.
Awesome. Hey, Blaine.
Hi.
Okay, so Travis, this has been annoying you significantly recently about our integration test on reliability, and we have not devoted the resources to attack this yet. Do we have a sense of what the common issues are? Have we kind of distilled down what the specific issues are with their the symptoms of them that we can start attacking methodically if we could get some resources on it?
Well, I feel like I've spent some time and been attacking some issues, and when I finally find one issue, then the next build almost feels like brings up, oh, there's another random issue that just hit us. What is that? So I think I don't feel like there's a real pattern other than that, our tests by nature are, we're waiting for Kubernetes to do something and retrying. So I think the pattern of retrying, it's kind of a Kubernetes pattern that way. And in some places we aren't retrying where we need to. That may be a small thing, but other places, like, well, we just fixed the flex driver load issue where occasionally that would hit us. I don't know, I don't feel like there's significant patterns around it, but when we see one, we just need to make sure we track it and squash it, especially if we see anything in a PR that we're introducing. Like, let's not introduce any new random issues. Right.
Yeah, I think that what I've seen so far is that this kind of feels like a bit of tribal knowledge so far of, we see failure and we say, oh, that's the one we know about, but we haven't necessarily captured it, with the specific symptoms or the specific error messages so that they could be, more, analyzed later on and kind of, attacked later on. So I think that, yeah, we could start doing a better, like that might be the first step, I think, of when we see one of these recurring failures, let's capture it in, I don't know if it necessarily needs to be its own issue, but, at least in the tracking issue that we have for integration test on reliability, let's start capturing that. And so we have it, in a single place that, it can be looked at as a community or whoever, might want to be able to tackle that, resources that could tackle these integration on test on reliability issues. And, have it so we could, kind of confer about it a little bit easier than just, a random Jenkins log.
Yeah. So if we have an issue tracking each thing, and then when we hit the failure, let's just put a Jenkins link in that issue so we know when it was hit and how common it is. That'd be good.
Right. And if I have found that, if we simply just link to a Jenkins build and say this failure, that doesn't really help someone coming along later on. Actually having a bit of analysis there that says this is an error snippet, potential link to the code where that test is failing, having as much information and specifics as possible instead of just a link to a Jenkins failure would help someone, I believe, coming along later on to attack these problems.
All right. And I'm assuming if the issue is already open with those details and we hit it, 20 times, if we just at least put a link to say, hey, this is the same issue, that's what I was thinking. But
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just capturing what the symptoms and error messages and stuff are is a priority. If that's already been done, then kind of incrementing the counter, so to speak, for a number of times it's hit is that's fine.
Cool. Yeah, so I don't know what to say other than that. Our integration tests need attention as we see issues, and it's it just needs attention. Even better if we could do more to factor them out to make them faster or more in parallel or whatever, but just squashing the random issues is the first priority.
Yeah, so if I see I'll be happy to take that on. That if we see a failure in a Jenkins build, and I think, Travis, you have the most knowledge about which ones you've seen and which ones are recurring because you've kept a close eye on them. But I'm happy to follow up with some of that legwork to track them, organize them, and get things information consolidated so that we can efficiently tackle them. So I'll do that if you help me kind of notice which ones are failures that we should be tracking like that. Is that cool?
Sounds great. Thanks.
All right. I got 2 legs and I can use them. Leg work. Leg work. All right. So that's that. We talked about this issue. I will follow up on that one, and Alex is going to send me the debug logging patch. Definitely, that's important to me because of showing Dimitri and those guys some love is important. They're special people in my heart. We already talked about this online, right, Alex? You have closed.
It's already closed.
Yeah. Request. All right. Thank you for thinking about that and trying to improve that. But
well, there was an issue open, so I was like, well, why not do it? So
yep. All right. The Minio integration tests that Tony had started a couple months ago have not been touched in a while. And a few weeks ago, Tony mentioned that he would try to look at it that weekend, but didn't. So I pinged Tony again about this, and if they don't get touched, if we can't get Tony to take a look at these, then I might take that over just to get to the finish line, because I would like some integration coverage on Minio, especially as it's adopting more usage as well. I've seen the container downloads for Minio are a little bit more popular than Cockroach right now, so it seems like some folks are using it, and it'd be good to have integration test coverage. But if anybody talks to Tony, give him a little poke. I would like this to be completed. Mm-hmm. All right, 2018. Travis?
Yep. So this one needs some more review. Alex is taking a look at it. Thank you. One thing I just wanted to discuss here is I'm seeing in our new upgrade test, it actually helped catch something. I feel like there's an issue here. I did get a green build, but the upgrade test, what it's doing is before the upgrade, it will write and read to a pod, and for both block and file. And then after the upgrade to master from 0.8, it will read the same file that was written before the upgrade, and then it will try and write and read again to the pod. And I'm finding that that write and read after the upgrade is a bit unreliable. Like I have to retry 1, 2, 3, 4 times before they all succeed. I'm just wondering if there's any thoughts from anybody in this group for why after basically restarting the Mons and OSD pods, that unreliability would happen, that I have to retry reading and writing, where the write and read just basically doesn't go through, like it can't talk to the Mons. Well, and this changes specifically around the Mons, so it shouldn't be the OSDs that were the problem. So if the Mons should have quorum already when they're restarted, the operator checks for that. But I wonder what else might be a factor here. Anybody have any thoughts on restarting Mons and what unreliability could cause?
Do you see what the particular read or write failure is? Is it like an IO timeout, or is it a specific error code?
The test has a timeout after 15 seconds to kill the kubectl command if it fails, and we're just writing a kubectl command to write to the pod or read from it. So that basically just times out after 15 seconds, and we kill the command. And like it hung trying to talk to the Mons is what I think it's doing.
Do we have any instrumentation? Because I know that we do a kubectl exec to perform the read write in a pod. Is there any instrumentation there? Like, is it the amount that's failing, or is like that pod already running and where it's the mounting, attaching process path is not being executed? Or do we look at the pod logs for that pod?
So the pod's already running. We're using the same pods that were there before the upgrade. So it's really just reading or writing to the existing pods, existing or new files. I just have to retry several times to get them to go through.
And the mods haven't changed the name or address?
No. Yeah, the same mon IDs. They just basically restart. And it's the same version of Ceph as well. We haven't changed anything that way. It's just upgrading the Rook image.
It sounds like it'd be interesting if, inside the pod there, that client that's trying to perform that read or write, if there was some, debug logging at the Ceph level to see, if it's trying to do like a, mon hunt, like looking for mons or, where exactly it's taking its time. That might be interesting to find out. Because I doubt we've seen that yet, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll look in the mons and see if I can turn on debug logging. That's a good idea.
I think for that you would need to take a look at the kernel messages at dmask, because in a dmask normally it will show if it's what it's currently doing, kind of in point of like, oh, like mon A is failed now and I need to search a new one, or I'm connected to OSDs with that IP and now it's gone or something. It's in the dmask. It should be there.
What Ceph command is it that you're trying to execute to perform the write?
The test is actually not running a Ceph command. It's just connecting to the pod that has that RBD mount in it and writing to the path in the pod or reading from it. So under the covers, I mean, there's Ceph RBD going on or MDS.
Yeah. Okay.
But the test itself is just a kubectl command to write to a pod. So okay.
Yeah, and Travis, another thought too is that general approach, because it's kind of like a big abstraction layer where do a kubectl exec which kind of loses some observability for what's actually being executed. That the test just says kubectl exec, it's hanging, I have no idea what's going on, and 15 seconds later I'll kill it. Which kind of is it's a bit opaque. So I'm wondering if there's some things that can be improved there as well to get more insight or observability into what's going on underneath.
More reliable, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And you could also that timeout, could be decreased for this particular circumstance. For other instances, like where it's trying to do a SQL command with Cockroach and the Cockroach integration tests, having a longer timeout makes sense. But for here, this effort, you might be able to tighten up the integration test by having a lower timeout for that particular operation.
Yep.
All right. That looks like that was the last item on the agenda today. Does anybody have an agenda item that is not here on the doc?
I do have, so something that I've been working on for 0.9 is pull 2048. And it's marked feedback desired. If anyone has some spare cycles, please take a look at that and let me know. But it's a sort of test implementation of what it would look like to decouple the Ceph manager from Rook.
A question to that. I think you don't want to have comments on stuff like, if there is like an image which uses your own namespace or something. You would only want comments on the functionality, right?
Yeah, I mean, sort of big picture kind of comments, or like, if there are specific things that look like they could be done better.
Okay, no, it's just because I had a second to look at it and looked at it and was like data host path /home/SES or something, and I was thinking like, I'm not going to comment about that. It's okay.
Oh yeah, there are some changes in there that I have just to make the branch work in my test environment. Those would be cleaned up for sure if this actually gets pulled.
No, it was just me asking if you want comments on that too, but no. Okay, got it.
Yeah, Blaine, in general, I think that, pull requests like this that kind of gives an idea of what the changes that are being made and then kind of the specific feedback that you're interested in. That's a really good idea. I think that's a great practice and will lead to, better collaboration as well. So this is a great model, I think, that you did here, Blaine.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for working through that. I'll look at your comments again later today.
I know you have presentations and stuff to do today. And now I know this is generally targeted for like early December, it's not a huge rush.
Yeah, this is sort of a prerequisite. Well, it is a prerequisite for decoupling the Ceph version from that design perspective. So yeah, soon is good too. So it's thanks for getting a start on it.
Alex, did you add some things here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two PRs just came up in my mind when we talked about the PR. So 27.1 is kind of just asking in the round if there is anything, anything against this, because from my side, it's looking sane. It's, yeah. I don't see a problem with the, yeah.
Okay.
I would just like to take some for someone else to take a look too.
Yeah, I could take a look at this. And
as I just looked at the math, and I'm not sure right now. I think I looked at it.
I need to look at that a little bit later as well. I'm not sure exactly what that's. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I also thought about it. Yeah, okay.
Great idea. Okay, and then this as well. Oh,
second one. Yeah, this one.
Yes.
I kind of just want to bring this up again because I'm not sure what to do right now.
God.
It's like I understand. I get both your points, Travis and Jared, but on the other hand, I'm seeing it coming, and people will be like, "Yeah, cool. Where can I copy and paste? Oh, copy paste. Why isn't it working?" Mm-hmm. And because of the artwork, because how where should you add the comment in the YAML? Wouldn't be enough because there's I think 50% going to Rook.io and using those manifests shown there, and 50% or so, directly going to the repository and then using kubectl create, which isn't a problem because the RBUG is in the YAML directly.
Yeah, I'm thinking now, after all this discussion here, I'm thinking that maybe Travis and I can let go of the conciseness and cleanliness of the doc and go towards the side of ensuring correct functionality. So just including the whole all the the RBAC that's necessary as well. I think we should probably just do that and move on.
Yeah.
No, it's just as I said, I get your points to have it clean, but still, it's simply because even if it's a bit more, in the end, the user can really just copy and paste it and it's ready, and not oh, I copied it and what? I need to go to the repository and take this file. And
right. You can be as clean as you want, but if it results in an error, then it doesn't matter that you're clean.
Right. Something I think that would be helpful with this is that to somehow guide the user to look at the CRD part of the doc, to say, hey, here's where the CRD changes are. The other stuff, just kind of ignore that. And so my last comment there that at the bottom of the screen there was trying to accomplish that. Hey, what if we added the comment blocks to say, here's where the CRD is. Here's some other.
So kind of just be a marker in the file, in the snippet that is shown on the page, and maybe even in the cluster YAML in the repository, hey, right. This is the namespace and service kind of stuff, and this is the cluster CRD example. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, now it's clear.
That makes sense. And then a quick question too about this is the ordering very essential in the snippet? If the cluster CRD is defined in the YAML before the service account is defined, does that get reconciled and to get to a consistent state with the Kubernetes API server, or does that break?
I can't say it with 100%, but I think at least if you have multiple files, so I think it's kind of applied to because if you the three dashes, it's like a new file for YAML, depending on how it's interpreted. Because if you have multiple files and you, for example, use a new namespace in those YAML and other manifests, and your namespace YAML, for example, begins with N, you would need to name it 00 namespace or something that it's created as the first thing.
Right, so the API server won't try to
maybe if you do kubectl apply, it's
okay.
It would be a kubectl logic there, but I don't think there's any logic in point of ordering.
Got it.
Okay, it would be good to confirm, but it seems like ordering does.
Yeah, I assume it does.
Yeah.
not a compiler.
Otherwise, putting
Yeah,
CRD at the top would solve it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So then I think we've got consensus about how best to approach this in the docs, and let's move on. There was some
Thank you,
healthy
guys.
conversation here, and that's good. All right.
We need a doc usability engineer to answer these questions. I guess we'll be the usability engineers.
Engineers are good at experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
User experience.
Yep. Oh, if I have another topic which isn't a PR but would be a community topic. If there isn't any other PR that should be looked at. Anybody has a PR or something still to look at?
Not I.
Okay.
Travis, are you still at your hotel, or are you in the convention center right now?
I'm in my hotel.
Yeah, me too.
What time is it for you guys?
It's
They're
almost
in-
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
The conference started at 9 today, so we're
Okay.
missing the beginning of it today for this meeting.
Well, yeah. So, now where is it? Let me find the link. There we go. Share message. Where's the button? Just a second. There we go. So, today, like 4 hours ago, a user came forward and was kind of looking into, as far as I understand right now, looking to implement Lustre file system as an operator for Rook. I kind of just said, like, I also mentioned you guys, but you didn't respond. So, yeah, I just wanted him to like create a feature request on a issue on the GitHub and maybe even join a community meeting, but he didn't have time to join it. Yeah, I think the link didn't work out for you there, Jared. But you can try click if you click on new threads. I think I mentioned you, so you should.
I'm not going to share all my threads on the public YouTube video. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, the discussion by C Flask.
Oh, okay. Oh, here, this one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, just pointed him towards it. That's creating an issue on a feature request issue that would be good, and maybe joining the community meeting. Sadly, he couldn't join today. Yeah, just wanted to let everyone know that there is somebody that seems to have interest in having Lustre file system with Rook.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, that I don't know too much about the Lustre with except from my experiences at the supercomputer conference in Denver last year. But that might be interesting to be able to manage that or deploy that. So yeah, okay. So it sounds like they'll follow up with opening an issue, and we'll have some discussion there.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, sounds good. Great. I'm glad to see more storage providers and solutions coming to the project. That's great.
Oh, and another thing, if anybody should be in Germany, anyone here in Germany? No? Okay, I'm the only one. In 2 days, on 30th August, I'm going to talk about distributed storage with Rook at the meetup. Yeah.
And did you send a link to that in the conferences channel?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, cool. I did. But
and if you want more
nobody
visibility,
liked it. Nobody liked it.
Oh, if you want more visibility, you can always send a link to that, like copy a link and then just put that in the general chat. That's okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and also kind of just here for the YouTubes too, like a thank you to Upbound there for sending me the stickers. As I got some Rook stickers there.
Good. You got more Rook stickers. Nice. Matt said that he would get that logo off of his external hard drive and send that over today, I think.
Did he say it in person or by mail?
He said that just to me. Matt does. I don't think Matt likes you. So I'll take it personally. I'm just kidding. He likes you.
Oh well.
We all like Alex.
But we all like Alex, or we don't like Alex?
We all do, of course.
Of course we do, obviously. All right, cool. So if I don't think there are any other topics for today, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up, and Travis and I will get going to the Mount Point conference.
Mm-hmm. I just have to comment. I'm sorry. I don't think he likes you. Don't think it personally. That's one of the classic statements of every meeting I've ever been into.
Don't take it personally.
We're a family here.
All right.
A family separated by continents.
That's right. A family nonetheless. All right, guys. Thank you for joining in today, and we'll see each other in a couple weeks.
Have a good one, and
All
hold
right,
a good
bye, guys.
presentation.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.